Bojo, Wabushkwe Nagoya Bukwe, Migizi Dodam. I'm from Long Lake 58. My given name is Crystal McLeod. In order for me to talk about land-based teachings, I have to speak about my grandmother, Frances Abraham, and her Indian name is Good Talking Turtle Woman. This is her handkerchief that is on my eagle fan, and she wore it. She wore it over her head, and I carry this with honor. She lived off the land. She lived in the bush in our area. She had 4 children in the bush, 15 altogether, until the government told her that she had to go to a hospital in order to give birth. So my teachings come from her and my mother and my aunties. They lived off the land. They lived in the cold. This is not cold right now. It's kind of cold, but they lived 40 below and survived with just the land. She was a hunter and trapper. And in order for her kids not to starve, she fed them with the land provided. I gained my strength from her, my mother, and my aunties. There's different areas in our area that they lived in, including Fernal Lake, where her trap ground is. And part of my job is to teach the young girls the teachings of the medicines that grow there, and the teachings of hunting. And there's so much more into just hunting and trapping. It's about connecting to the land. It's about connecting to the trees. It's about connecting to the birds, to the winds, connecting to yourself. Our children don't have that opportunity to always go back to their traditional trapping grounds, and so it's important for me. I feel that I take that time to teach the young woman, the youth, and the mothers that want to learn. And I have a whole lot of women that are involved, that come out, that sign up, and it's very successful. They learn about Labrador tea. They learn about picking cedar medicine for protection, and everything that's crucial for their well-being. Sometimes we forget to breathe, and sometimes it gets too much for us being stuck in one community, and having that opportunity to get back to the land helps your spirit. So not all women are hunters, not all women are trappers, not all women are medicine pickers, and it's up to that individual to figure out what they're good at. And sometimes when we take a walk in the bush, I ask them to keep vigilant of what they hear, what they see, what they feel. I teach them about moose calling and respect for the animals. I teach them about gun safety and the importance of taking care of the animal once you have them. So when we shoot a partridge, we put that tobacco down and say thank you to that spirit of that partridge for giving of his meat, and we take care of his body with respect, and we feed our families with them. It brings them strength, and it boosts their inner spirit when they're able to hunt and fend for themselves as women. When they make a first moose call, they're kind of shy and they're not sure, but the more practice that they have, they feel more confident, and the more they go out there, they speak about what's troubling them and how they feel, and then they leave it there. They leave it to the land, and they're able to breathe again. So in September, I started taking women out into the bush in different areas that my aunties, Mary, Veronica, Connie, Jocelyn, Dorothy, and my mother Diane would take me. And there's stories that go with every place that we've gone to, stories of what their mother had taught them. And so I tell those stories to the young woman when we go to these spots, so that they carry those stories on to their generation. There's a lot of history in the land, and there's a lot of ancestors that are out there. Sometimes in the evening when we're out, when it gets dark, we're in a certain area and we could see those flashes of lights. Those are our grandmothers and grandfathers, our ancestors there that are there, and they're happy that we're out there. And they're happy that we're back where we're supposed to be, where we're meant to be. So yeah, as I mentioned, I started in September taking girls out, and we were tracking a moose in this one area, and we'd go back several times, probably weekly, and every time we'd call and go check, the moose would come out and we missed them. We started getting frustrated, and we thought, well, oh man, I just want to give up, because we're in October now, and how long have we been going out? And we just said, okay, well, we're not going to give up. Let's go. We'll make a plan. We'll park the truck, and we're going to go walk in. And this one day, I just had this real urge to go. And there was 2 other women that were supposed to come with us, but they couldn't go. And then another young girl was going with the school, and she couldn't come with us. So it ended up just being my daughter and I was like, okay, well, let's just go. We'll continue with the plan. And so we went to our spot, parked the truck, and I started calling. It was kind of windy a little bit, but we just felt like we had to keep moving. So we kept walking. And I called again, and I'd stop, and we'd listen. And we got to this opening, and I looked around for tracks, and I called again. And my daughter, she looked over at me and with the biggest eyes, and she was like, oh my God, I just heard a moose. And I was like, shh. So she came beside me because she was a little scared. It's the first time she heard a moose. So as she came beside me, we both looked up at that tree line, and there was a moose standing in front of us. And she was like, holy, like, so she wanted to scream, but she couldn't because we had to be quiet. he was looking at us, and I know as a hunter, it's hard to shoot at an animal when he's looking at you, and it's better to shoot broadside. So my legs were shaking so much that I went on one knee and I put my gun up, and all I could see is his head, and I could hardly see his chest. So I made a call, and his head turned, and I was able to see his chest. And so I took a shot, and that shot went through his chest, through his heart, and through his lung, and he went down. And my daughter looked at me, and we looked at each other, and we're like, "What, did that just happen?" And I was like, "Yeah, that just happened." And so in respect of that animal, we walked away and put tobacco down so that he didn't suffer, and let him die in peace. We walked back to the truck. We made phone calls for help to come gather the girls, gather the women, and the people that help us got him. And when we got back, he was still there. We were very happy to see that. But the feeling that I had was that connection with that moose. I was so honored that he came out and blessed us with giving his meat to us, that I cried. They say hunters have that connection with that moose, and it is so true. Because days after, I could still see the moose in my dream. So all the girls that came out with me during that September came to help cut up the meat, and some of them this was their first time, and yet it felt so natural to them. And one of the girls said, "How come it feels like I did this before, and yet I've never done this before? It comes so natural." And that's that blood memory from her grandmother, her mother, to her grandmother, to her great grandmother, that's instilled into us. They took over with the harvesting the moose and cleaned it so well. It amazed me. So all of us were part of this harvest, not just my daughter and I. It was the whole group that came with us this whole month, and they celebrated with us, and they felt that spirit of that moose and the joy that it brought, because they knew that their families would be fed. We shared all the meat with the schools, with the Delico, and the girls were honored to share everything, and so was I. So there's so much teachings in everything that we do, everything that is blessed for us. And these girls will forever remember all these stories, and they'll forever remember these teachings. And one day they will take their children out and remember what to look for, what to smell, what to feel, and take care of their spirits. I'm honored to have learned from my grandmother, my aunties, my mother. I'm honored for the land where I live. I am honored for the woman that I am, because without those strong women before me, I wouldn't be the woman who I am today. So miigwech for listening, and miigwech.